The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the new channel. Our passion is to transform a community channel that sees all things new. This is Jesse Francis Rebustillo, live streaming here from Marcelo Green Village, Parañaque City, and you're watching HR Hotline, Season 8, Episode 139. Good morning. My apologies, we were not live streaming last Saturday because I was in a very important meeting. But we'll have to continue, and then we still have Saturdays to go up to the season 8 ender on November 23. Okay, this is wonderful because it's actually the culmination of a series of episodes on strategic planning. I started on the role of HR in strategic planning, but I'm now going into the nitty gritty on the what do you call this, the details on what is actually we need to do to be strategic, to really practice what we call the strategic human resource or strategic people management. And this is not only for HR, these are for all leaders that you must be able to know how you're gonna be strategic in what you do. Last time I was with past president of PMAP in 2015, Obet Policarpio, and I'm expecting him now. I'm also was expecting, I'm expecting Jerry past President Jerry Plana, but I think he is in his farm, so he's just gonna join us on the chat. And then also Joanna Setre, who is actually doing some works with her uh, community, with her church community. So let me continue our our discussion, and then while waiting for past President um, Obet Policarpio, I would just like to acknowledge that we have here my dear friend, the beautiful Charis Muniz Sampang, and she's a voice master. And we have here Kathleen Reyes, and then who else are here? I just hope you can join me in the chat because I'm going to read what you're going to discuss. Yes, Kathleen Reyes Hermoso. Thank you for being with us. And we have also what we have here, Isa Refuerzo. Yes. And Micaela Ibarra. Very, very good. Join us because what we're going to discuss is actually very essential in what we do. And of course, Marvin Sanchez, very good. Okay. Um, so we started what is the role of HR in the strategic planning. It is a big role because you must be able to know. Actually, I've read an article written by past President Grace Sata on Mr. Nick Lean, and one of his quotation was that the CHRO, which is the HR, is actually tasked to execute the plans. Make sure that is why we have this new arrangement of HRBP. It's not that you're katulong in the business units, but you are there actually to make sure that the plans are actually implemented because it cuts through. Diba? Who are the implementers? The people. So you started with the strategic direction, you have to review your mission, you have to review your vision, and of course your values at this time because of the pandemic. What you have been doing pre-pandemic has already changed. Or even if you have been listening to webinars of PSTD, where I was the chairman last year, and then the PMAP, where I'm very, very much still involved and engaged, and ECOP, where I am one of the training consultant, they have been insisting that we now have new competencies. So that means that we really have to go back to the competency that is based on the values, that is based on the vision, that is based on the on the mission. So you really have to review it, ladies and gentlemen. So yun. So we discussed that. And then we discussed also how you're going to execute it. Coming from the big strategic plan, then you now go into to cascading into operational plans. And before that, you have to scan the environment wherein you have your SWOT, your SLEPT. But you also have a very deep discussion that it is essential. We need to have plans. Of course, it's part of the function of management, planning, organizing, directing, and controlling. And we have to be strategic because that is now the new way of doing things. Say from creativity, I'm teaching that you listen to this. This is very fast. From creativity to your critical thinking, to your strategic thinking, to your systems thinking, because you will not even reach the point of identifying the problem, you're already having resolving the issue. So we have to be strategic. The point is, I was told in a private chat by one of the past presidents of PMAP, I will mention her name, Grace Sorongan, and she told me that even with her organization, they're now doing what you call business continuity. Every quarter, they review the plans because it's VUCA. Oh, it is actually baduy na word. But it is happening. The volatility, the uncertainty, the ambiguity. And of course, I even added, mas matalino ako sa Pentagon kasi galing dun yung VUCA. I even added driven. And you know the antidote of volatility is vision. Of uncertainty, it's understanding. For complexity, it's clarity. For ambiguity, it's agility. Kaya tinuturo natin yung agility and resilience. And for driven, it has to be digital. Okay, and we have lots of that. Now, we discuss now, how are we going to use that? How can we be strategic? How can we be strategic? We need to be strategic by actually having programs in our organizations, HR programs, people management programs that will support the strategies. And one of which is actually, can you allow me to let my pet come in? This is the first time I'm live streaming, but you know, if you can hear somebody knocking, it's my pet. I will continue talking, but I will just let her in. Okay? You can still hear me, but I am letting my pet in because they are so keen with HR Hotline. Whenever they hear me talking, they are knocking and they would like to join me in my room. Okay, don't be afraid. I am also the current president of the Philippine Association of Professional Speakers. I am really insisting that my background is my room. That is your authenticity. That is what you call online present. And that is also strategic. Then you can hear the knocking, the quacking, and the chirping because I'm not working from a mausoleum. I'm not working from a cemetery. I'm working from home. So don't be ashamed if your children kisses you or your husband passes by in his puruntong. And that is also strategic because it shows your authenticity and who you are. Nag-segue tayo doon. Mr. Ryan Navarro, happy birthday. He's actually a friend of mine from Davao. How are you? How is Davao? Yes. Napakagwapo nito na sa, ano nga, baka magkamali ako ng iyong tinatrabahuan. It is IntelliCare. Diba? It is IntelliCare. Yun. Okay. You know, at this time, you really need an XMO. Ryan, can you tell us you are the IntelliCare General Manager? Okay. So let me continue. So we are now on the specific strategic programs that should support. We started with acquisition. A lot of us, we are just so focused on recruitment. And recruitment is just that portion of trying to advertise, then select, then place. We miss that strategic initiative of trying to identify what is your brand. You should be considered an employer of choice. So what is it that you can be advertising in Inquirer, in Job Street, or in your outside your yung napakabadoy na wanted mananahi. Pero what is the brand? Then the other one is your relationship management. The social media will just sometimes unmask you. Okay. Oh, we already also have here Louis Hemoro of Bacolod. Thank you, Louis, for joining us. So there is somebody listening from Davao. There is somebody. Di ba, Louis? Dapat I know Louis is also looking for people, and I know Ryan is also looking for people. We have to make sure that because of the social media, we have a nice brand. We have a nice brand. Kasi mag-uusap-usap yan eh. And then the relationship management. Oh, masakit sa tainga. Anong sasabihin ko? Very nice ang advertisement. Very nice ang iyong salary offer. Pero, meron dyan nagsabi, working in this organization is working in hell. Impyerno. Bakit? Yung boss ko, si Lucifer. O, diba? So, dapat kasama yan dyan. Kasama dun sa acquisition, yung strategy. Kasi you must be able to be the employer of choice. Case in point. Why is it that a lot of graduates would like to join 7-Eleven, would like to join Schumer? Kasi aircon. Isa pa yun. What is it? What is the employee experience? What is it? What is the rewards that you are actually presenting to them? So that is a strategy. Sometimes sabi ito ni PP Jerry, your right hand is not actually aligned to what your left hand is doing. You try to invite people to join you, but pagdating naman doon, you scare, shame, bully them. So the experience after that, they go. Alam na alam yan sa There are statistics on that sa BPO. So that is acquisition. Then we also started with performance. Performance. The strategy is actually not on the evaluation form, not even on the grades, not even on the incentive. The strategy is on the conversation, how they can improve performance. And then, nag-segue tayo doon sa what are the interventions needed. So, na-mention natin, of course, PP uh, Obet mentioned a lot on how you're going to deal with your people. Right now that we are on a mode, virtual mode. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm still waiting for PP Obet, but I need, so that we can continue, um, Louis, Ryan, and then Erwin and Charisse. If you have some thoughts on what I am talking about, please do. So after that, so after performance management, then at this time, sana, so that we can end it, we'll talk about training, which is started last time, and then we end up with rewards. So let us start with learning and development. What is the strategy now? This is the time. This is the powerful time that people should be upgraded, reskilled, retooled. But of course, I know kasi almost every day I have webinars. Chismis. Even my favorite big company, Lazada, is asking me to give a webinar with them. And this is the time. Behavioral, soft skills, or hard skills. I have been doing for three big companies, um, anger, stress, and anger management that included the five uh, stress points, from fear down to conflict management. So, what are the strategies? Can you help me here? Louis, what are the strategies? Let me read. Ang sakit naman, Lucifer talaga. Oo nga talaga, Louis. Di ba? May oras, it's not the work that really matters. Neither it's the salary. It's actually they are treated. You know what is the paradox, Louis? The big bosses are really good. Kasi owner nga sila eh. Ang hindi maganda, so yung mga nasa middle, and how they relate. And that should be you know what is the strategy there? Dapat yung HR, kung kahit na yung management, dapat continuous ang training sa leadership. Yan ang nakukulangan. Alam mo, what is really happening? The executives are not really updated. And when they go into such training, they don't listen. They drink, they play. I have experiences with that, wherein I require my colleagues who are actually executives to learn. Sa strat plan or sa team building, nako, they will join one activity, the rest they're already doing other things. So that the learning culture should really be develop in all. Kaya tuwang-tuwa ako. Ito mga chismis ito ha. I know sa Ayala, I know sa Gokong Way, even executives attend. There was a time years ago, I happened to open a room in Dusit. Alam mo yung nandun, executives of SM. SM. They were having a special class handled by AIM. O yun, mga chismis ko yan ha. Chismis ko yan. Then also, there was a time I was somewhere in Tagaytay. I was doing a webinar. At the other room were executives from Jollibee. Oh, tingnan mo. Yung mga na-mention ko, doon sa 720 good organizations in the world na identify sila. Jollibee is around 260, Ayala is around, Aboitiz, kasama yung Aboitiz. So tingnan mo, ang strategy tayo doon sa learning and development, kulang yung pag-train sa leadership, including the HR. Ang mahirap naman sa HR, yung head, yung nag-a-attend ng conference, nag-a-attend ng training, yung mga assistant, hindi napapag-attend. So there is something here that sinabi ni Louis. Can we spot on Louis? Another problem is when ang mga anak na mga pumasok na business na iba naman ang strategy. True, Louis, spot on. I am now a consultant of two, what do you call this? Family-owned big corporations, good products. Very good naman sila. Pero makikita mo, yung and I am trying to use all the knowledge that I have. There is a big difference of that traditional thinking. Siyempre yung mga baby boomer and then the younger ones. Iba na yung strategy. Pero what is good if it is proper? What is not good if it is not proper? Yan ang sinasabi ni Louis. There is another one from, yan yung sinasabi ni Louis. Can we get more? Can we get more? Ay, nandito na yung aking gwapong guest. Parati yan nandyan sa akin, sabi nga sa PMAP, that's the People Management Association of the Philippines, kakambal daw kami. Oo na nga, kakambal. But my relationship with PPO, yung talagang, no, it's not bromance. It's not bromance. It's more of an idol, a mentor, a friend. More of a friend. And I'm introducing him, more of a friend. Kasi I even have one time, we talk a little, napaka-deep yung pinag-uusapan namin. Tinanong ko siya kung paano magluto ng munggo. Oh, ganun ang relationship namin. At tinuruan kami kung paano magluto ng munggo. Nakikinig ka, Ryan, nakikinig ka, Louie. Sa lalim ng aming pinag-uusapan, nagbabasa ng konstitusyon, natapusan kami sa pagluto ng munggo. Ganun po kami ni PPO. Past President Obet. Sometimes I call him Obet, may always past President Obet. Depende sa sitwasyon. Thank you very much for being here. Ayun, ang dami ko nang nasabi. And then nandito na tayo dun sa what are your thoughts, insights? Dalawa na lang i-take up natin, Obet. One is, what are the strategies that you need to do on learning and development? And the other one are the strategies on rewards. Diba? I-clear ko muna para mag-isip ka. Yung learning and development, yung mga bago na ngayon, it's pandemic, yung kakulangan dito sa leadership leading to succession planning. Tapos doon naman sa rewards, yung hindi lang doon sa salary, yung total rewards. Okay, may sinabi sa atin dito si Ryan Navarro. Sige, tingnan na muna natin bago habang nagpapango. Buti na lang hindi kasama paano na po ang munggo habang diluluto. Yun nga. Ganun kami. Ryan, I also miss you. Obet si Ryan of Intelligence.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah. Diba? One of the people managers of Davao. He used to be the president of Davao chapter around 3 years ago. Diba? Yeah, 3 years ago. Okay. So what are your insights? Kasi we still have time. Sa learning muna tayo. Ano ang mga insights mo? What are the strategic ways that HR and leaders should take note sa learning and development now that we are on here?
Una sa lahat, Jesse, magandang tanghali sa lahat ng mga masugid na tagapakinig. No, at this is our Saturday lunch day. All right. So tama-tama, baka iba dyan ang una may munggo. Alam mo, taking on from the comment of Ryan at nasimulan mo yung munggo na yan. Ang munggo, talagang siksik-liglig sa sustansya yan. But actually, hindi naman bawal kumain ng munggo. Yan ang myth. To eat the munggo itself is not bad at all for your health. Ano yan gulay yan, di ba? Bunga ng gulay yan. What you put into the munggo as you cook is what makes it over or under. So the same thing also with learning and development. Whatever you put into it, either it could be over or under. So therefore, when you prepare your learning and development programs, including the designer, the trainer, the admin team, are not exempted from being learners at the same time developers.
Yes.
The proof of the pudding is in the eating. Kung so kinakailangan, kamukha nang nabanggit ko sa'yo, there are a lot of ways on how you can cook munggo. It depends on who will eat your munggo. Diba? You have to have the right process. Hindi pa pwedeng madaliin lahat. Because if you speed up take for granted the process and right away you jump into the content, you will have a problem. Even if you have the contents, no, tamang-tama at masasarap at mamahalin ng mga resource speakers mo, if there is no right process, eto yan, the process and the content must deliver answer, the
Ang
identified
lalim,
needs
ang lalim-lalim mo talaga, no?
of the participants. Yun yung
Tinawag tuloy kita, Noy. Ang lalim-lalim mo talaga, Manoy. Alam mo bakit?
kasimple.
Di ba you listen to this? Di ba tuwang-tuwa ako na kinukuha akong webinars, trainer? May oras, sabi niya, sir, narinig kita. Can you do this? Alam mo, I insist, yung sinabi mo, this is basic and this is strategic. Ano ba ang training needs? Balay mo naman, nagustuhan lang yung presentation, hindi naman kailangan nung. So, kailangan nga, ang lalim ng sinabi mo dun sa Munggo, tingnan muna natin yung needs nung needs ng tao. Kasi kahit na mahal, kahit na maganda yung presentation, malay mo, hindi naman, and then, hindi naman appreciated. So, that is actually a strategy. So, what are
Totoo
actually...
yan, no? Talking about strategy. Jesse, ito minsan nakakalimutan ng mga designers developers, the trainers, and the resource speakers. Kinakailangan yung team mo kasi dapat isa yung inyong alignment, no? Not in terms of the knowledge or intelligence, no? Kinakailangan tingnan mo paano maiaakma yan dun sa level of participants. But when you talk of level of participants, ang dami niyan. Merong advanced, merong basic, medyo naiiwan, merong so-so. So, i-equalize mo lahat yan, di ba? Unless you have the luxury of time to segregate the advanced dun sa basic saka sa intermediate. So, ang key dito, especially now that we are in pandemic, no? We do more with less. So, in other words, whatever is available resources, but by concocting,
Yes.
sabi naman, ang lalim na naman. By concocting whatever is available resources, you have to put a dash of creativity and a dash of innovation. Parang salt and pepper lang yan.
Yan. That's true. So, ang gustong sabihin, it is not para bang stopgap. Para bang nalaman mo yung nag-away, pag ka na dito ng conflict management, hindi. Dapat there should be a curriculum, there should be a program. Pero dapat you have to act fast. Kasi kailangan. Yes. Yeah. Gaya ba ganito, PPO, beta? A lot of people are para bang ang surface is mental health. So everybody, pwede mo bang turuan kami may mental health, may stress, pero hindi nila alam na ang punot dulo ng mental health is actually maybe in the supervision or maybe they are not happy at work itself. Diba? So, titingnan mo yung strategy na para bang tinuruan mo lang na sabi mo na there are some problems in communication. They are not actually good in presentation, yung ating sales. Pero tingnan mo, ang problema is actually on confidence.
Yes, totoo yan. Kaya nga sabi mo, anong strategy? Hindi pa pwedeng cut and paste all the time. Hindi pa pwedeng canned programs. Dapat meron ka dyan yung very quick ka. Yung sasabi mo, dapat mabilis. Ito iwasan yung analysis paralysis. So, kailangan
That's true.
And it takes a seasoned practitioner, no, to immediately, you don't merely look at the forest, but you can easily spot where the problem is in the entire forest.
Yeah. Gaya ba ito na maraming nagpapasabi na kailangan ngayon ng coaching, kailangan nyo ng mentoring. This is another intervention which is under learning and development. Alam mo yan, PPO, but kasi you're a stalwart in OD. Pero may oras, hindi naman yung problema doon sa pag-coaching at sa pag-mentoring. One is baka hindi na-delineate. Ang problem actually, hindi naturuan yung coaches at yung mentors at walang direction kung walang curriculum, wala ring direction So para bang you let people do a mentoring program without actually knowing. Alam mo, chismis tayo. Marami ako alam yan ng mga malaking organisasyon na mayroong mentoring program. Wala namang direction kung anong iti-take up. So, walang nangyayari.
Kaya nga di ba? Ano nangyari dyan? Di ba nag-undergo na ng mentoring coaching program yan ng 1 year? Ba't ganyan pa rin yan? Kasi nga,
Mm.
baka force fit o misfit ang ginagawa. So,
Yeah.
again, back to basics ka uli. Ano ba yung identified needs? At yung identified needs na yan, hindi lang yan basta nakukuha sa Training Needs Analysis Workshop o TNA Workshop for short.
Yeah,
Kinakailangan yan, kinukuha mo yan from January to December through performance conversation between the
right.
supervisor and the
Right.
staff.
Right.
At doon mo sisikwatin ngayon. Ano yung nakikita mong deficiency? Because when we talk of need, wag natin lagyan ng training kasi maraming klaseng need eh. It's a matter of really asking where we are now versus where we would want to be. So definitely there's a gap where we are now and where you would want to be. So yung gap na yon, anong intervention ang gagamitin mo? And not
Yung
always, if there's a problem, training is the solution. No, no, no. Mali yun. Hindi yung ganon. Minsan hindi training ang solution dyan eh. Common sense minsan.
Yeah. Kaya yung sabi, from point A to point B. Pero kailangan mo rin doon sa isang ano rin siguro intervention and strategy. Dapat talaga gumawa ngayon ng individual development plan. Parang malaman mo rin kung talagang saan papunta kasi malay mo you're just the one trying to think of how you're going to mold, how you're going to come up with successors, ikaw nakuha mo na yung potential, you're trying to develop them, pero yung tao pala doesn't want to be developed. What are your thoughts on this, PP of it?
Di ba, ang performance appraisal form, yung performance appraisal form is a tool being used in the performance management system. But the performance appraisal per se is not the performance management system. Yan ang difference yan. Kasi iba akala pagdating ng performance appraisal period, nag-performance management system na tayo. Merong mga ganyang myth So magkaiba yan. Kaya nga doon sa performance appraisal form, merong design yan, di ba? Number one is about the achievement of the objectives. Diba? Kaya ka nga nire-rate eh. Kaya ka nga gine-gauge. O number two, kinakailangan during the performance conversation, at least sana once every quarter. So you have 4 conversations. O kaya sabi mo na lang once every 6 months. Pero mas maganda kasi every quarter eh. Para may time na makaka-catch up. No? So kinakailangan dun sa part 3. Kasi yung part 1 is about the jumpers eh. Part 2, yung improvement. Part 3, doon lalabas yung IDP, yung Individual Development Plan. Kasi dapat ma-realize yung parehas, the rater and the ratee, the supervisor and the staff, ano yung gap? At doon ngayon sa part 3 na yon, doon ngayon ilalagay yung mga specific approaches, especially kung formalized programs. O tapos ngayon yan, dadalhin niya sa HR department. Si HR department, kasi, ayan, pre-practice ko naman talaga ito eh. Tinitingnan ko ngayon yung mga performance appraisal. Tinitingnan ko that cut across to all departments. And then, ano yung peculiar to each department. And then, snapshot on a personal level. Magsasampling lang ako. And then, I validate this to the supervisor or much more to the department manager para maganda. Para pagka gumawa ngayon ng integrated training plan, ito na yan, mas malaki na yan, talagang hagip mo yung cut across, secure to each department, and to the person. Ngayon, pagdating sa training request, tinitingnan ko ngayon yung performance appraisal. O teka, nailagay ba ito doon? O bakit mukhang hindi? So, I call the manager. O, pinaatin mo ganito, bakit mo yun. So, titingnan mo rin ngayon, baka merong job expansion, di ba? O kaya, eventually, nagde-develop yung trabaho into something, doon di pa siya na-formalize, yun yung mga anticipation natin.
Sabihin mo lang, hindi ura-urada ang pagpa-training. Basta may training budget, nagpa-training para makabili ng food. Ganon. Hindi. Dapat it has to be strategic. Before we go to a break, one last. Pero dapat yan, PPO, competency-based. Dapat may framework. Dapat may framework. O given yun. So lahat ng organizations, you are going to share this. So you look into that. Yung honest to goodness na mayroon ko talagang competency framework. You have to design and framework. When you have the core, the technical, and the behavioral competencies, kasi yan ang basihan, isang basihan ng iyong coming up with your training, integrated training plan na sinabi ni PP Obet. Ang gustong sabihin, lahat talagang aspeto titingnan mo. Yung individual development plan, yung training needs mo, yung talagang what are yung requirements, is it actually affecting performance, and then also dapat it is competency based. So in other words,
Tsaka importante,
yes.
importante bago nyo padala sa training ang isang employee. By the way, ang training doesn't happen within the four corners of the training room or conference o sa mga webinar. Training happens every day in the workplace. Kahit na naka-work from home tayo.
Before I
nauunawaan ng participant, bakit ako pina-attend doon.
Yeah, before I answer you, I would like to greet Cel Casas Gonzalez, who is watching us. She is the owner of One Algon Place, yung ano dyan sa Cabuyao, where I'm actually one of the board of directors ng kanilang it's make it understandable, it's a rehab center. Okay? Dyan po sa Cabuyao. Cel, hello. I know you've undergone a lot of challenges lately. Alam mo na yung sa COVID, you know that already. But I'm very good with God's grace. You are listening to us. And then si Cel is a very nice educator also and trainer. More on yung mental health, yung about dito sa pag-rehab. Okay. So, yes, PPO, but to answer you, totoo yun na dapat talaga you have to look into yung vulnerability. Isa pa yun vulnerability. Malay mo nagtitrain ka dun sa tao, aalis pala. Diba? O nagtitrain ka sa tao, ayaw naman talaga. Yung ayaw na makinig. Ayaw na makinig. And then, sabi kasi ni PP Obet, it has to really be adaptive, it has to be holistic, na yung training, yung learning and development event, ay hindi lang doon po sa classroom. It has to be supported by the bosses. Para bang ako, you ask me to do a values enrichment webinar in your organization, or you ask me to do an emotional intelligence, dapat ini-insist ko that the bosses should also attend so that mare-reinforce yun ang sinasabi ni PP Obet, and that is the strategy. Para bang yung nagpaaral ka ng anak mo at talagang tinuturuan mag-English doon sa school, pagdating naman dyan sa bahay, ay nagtatagalog ka. Or baliktad naman, di ba? So dapat there should be a reinforcement. And usually the reinforcement should be coming from the leaders. From the leaders. Yung para bang you ask them to attend about work ethics, dapat pumasok ng maaga. Tapos naman yung boss, hindi pumapasok ng maaga. O gaya ba ngayon, sinasabi natin that there should be what you call interaction. Yung boss, hindi nga nag-open ng screen. Hindi nga, di ba, communication is interaction. Sin ka lang, hindi ka nga sumasagot. So how can you be emulated? How can you be a good example? So a lot of intervention. Last, before we have the break, yung team. By the way, if you have some thoughts, Ryan, Cel, Louis, I will read your thoughts on this. Nandito tayo sa what are the strategies that we need to do to learning and development. Si Cel, ang dami niyan kasi they have what they call students. Yung actually these are close quotation patients under rehabilitation, and their program is actually learning and development based from the spiritual of praying the rosary down to playing, which is physical, down to sometimes I do training doon sa kanila to increase their know and reading. So kasama yun doon po. So, yun. A strategy is, I remember in Inquirer, alam mo si Ma'am Sandy, rinirequire kami magbasa ng libro. Yung Who Moved the Cheese. Pinilit kaming bumasa niyan. So it is actually holistic na dapat You have to support. Ang mahirap niyan, may nagtuturo, tapos yung boss pa yung kumukontra. Ay, maniwala ka dyan sa nagturo na yan. Maniwala ka dyan kay Mr. Rebustillo. Yun ang mahirap, and that is actually the strategy. So, kasama dyan, ang last pa lang, sasabihin ko, kasi although this is one intervention, yung team building and team alignment. Ang team building po is done every day. That is actually a function of the leader, that you have to build your team every day because they come from different persuasions. What you do in an event is team alignment. And team alignment, you can even do it. You facilitate it on your own, not naman dun sa mga meetings. You really hold a separate event on that, especially now that we are on a virtual mode. I sometimes I facilitate. Alignment lang naman. Alignment. And then tatlo yan alignment. Alignment with the boss, alignment with yourself. May oras, hindi naka-align kasi hindi integrated. Alignment with the work. And then alignment with the colleagues. May panglima, alignment with the community. Iyon yung event. May mga questions siya, dapat sasagutin, may mga blended. Pero dapat yung team building every day. And then the one of which is just opening your screen. Or calling them. So if you have some thoughts, can you put your thoughts on this? Kasi when we come back, it will be on rewards. What are the strategies now on rewards? And one that I will ask, would like to ask from everybody here. Donald, you are here. Sel, you are here. At nandito si Donald is my cousin who's in Saudi. Pwede bang sagutin ninyo ako, sino ba dapat ang rewarded? Yung nag-work from home o yung nag-work face-to-face? Now. Sige nga ha. At ano ang i-reward? Louie, gusto kong marinig kita. Ryan, sige, basahin before we go to the break. Can we read direct yung sinasabi ni Ryan? We are actually reviewing our TNAs. Yes, Ryan. Kasi nag-iba eh. Most of the inputs we are reading from leaders are learning and develop on soft skills. Ay, get me Ryan, kasi I have a program on critical thinking. Mag-uumpisa ka po dyan Ryan sa creative. Yung maging innovative, magiging kang inventive, and then after that, i-criticize mo yung sinabi mo. Tapos mayroon dan yung unang mga design. And it is, para kang computer, mabilis yan ha. Hindi yung very slow ka mag-isip. And after that, iisipin mo yung strategic. Then after that, iisipin mo yung system. And then, nawala na yung Kapner-Trego, yung identifying the problem. Kailangan, that is a soft skill. Then, emotional intelligence, Diyos ko, 15 years na po ako nagtuturo, Goldman ang aking frame. Goldman, which is the dimensions of awareness, motivation. Can you spot on yung kay Ryan po, direct? Motivation, management, social skills, yon. Then, character and attitude, yan yung value enrichment. Kailangan po yan ngayon. Kasi, mas nag-surface that we are in a virtual mode. Lumabas yung mga negative. Ang challenge for all of us leaders is that we must surface, pigain, yung positive or the strength of our subordinates or of people, including you. Ang mahirap nitong mode natin ngayon, ang lumalabas yung negative or the weaknesses. So I have that. Very good. And mastery on system applications, of course, the basic. Pero yung mastery on the systems application, you go back actually to the basic management. Yung basic na planning, organizing, directing, and controlling. Basic. You know, I am a consultant wherein I'm not very, pero I used to be engaged with that because ako nga yung naggawa ng job market online at yung obituary online. Mayroon akong isang consultancy na ang problema nila, nakakuha sila ng system provider, maganda naman yung kanilang parang programmer, pero mayroong vulnerability. Ang vulnerability, hindi natuturuan, tinuturuan lang sa yung accounting, separately, doon sa logistics, separately doon sa sales. Sabi ko, yan po ang mali doon, ang flow. Dapat yon turuan buo para makita nila yung buong system. So, doon yun. Basic lang yan po. Basic. Tapos, ang pagdating sa systems development na ngayon, dapat para kining training, you really have to ask yung nag-i-implement. Hindi pwede na yung nag-design lang, yung boss lang nag-iisip. Kasi sila ang gumagawa. Case in point, ang daming HR may HRIS, hindi naman nagagamit. The HRIS is supposed to be used for analytics, hindi naman na-analyze. Hindi naman na-analyze. So dapat kasama doon yung gagamit, kasama yung boss sa gagamit. Ang dami na pong sistema, ang mamahal, hindi naman po nagagamit. So tama ka, Ryan, you have to look into that. You have to review that. And it has to be fast. And it has to be fast kasi tamang-tama na before we really go back to what is the new normal, na pwede ka ng, ang new normal po, hindi tayo mag-isip na babalik tayo lahat sa opisina. Ha? The new normal, yung you can still be blended, hybrid, katawag. Nakaset na yung sistema at procedure. Don't leave us kasi we'll have a break and when we come back, we discuss about rewards. And I want you to post right now who should be rewarded. The one working at home or the one going to the office face to face. Diyan lang. I just would like to have a poll. Give me your point, your insights on this. Diba? Okay. So, Direk, can we have a break? And then, namimiss ko si PPO, but nawala siya. Direk Monica, let's have a short break.
Have you been dreaming of launching your own podcast but don't know how and where to start? Let ValuePod Productions podcast editing and management services help you effortlessly launch, syndicate, and grow your podcast. Message us at facebook.com/ValuePodProductions. ValuePod Productions podcast editing and management services, humanizing personal connections through podcasting.
Direct, can we have that poster wherein we invite our watchers, because this will be shared? The TNC is a live stream platform of online shows for people on the go. Please watch all our shows as seen on the screen and imagine having your own show, your own playlist, your own content, but we make it easier for you. TNC aims to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Of course, you have to watch HR Hotline. We are on the Facebook, YouTube, and follow our IG. Listen to us in Spotify and Apple Podcast. Thank you very much. Okay, ang gwapo ko dyan. That is actually a barong Tagalog of mine that I used when I was president of PMAP in 2016. Okay, kasi previous to that, si Pipi Obe 2015, sa ang kanyang, I was the, ano doon ha, I was the AC chair. Ay ba, ano yun ha, nagrapel galing sa taas ng PICC. So nag-isip ako, paano kaya ko ma-outdo yung ginawa ni Pipi Obet, hindi ko kaya mag-rappel-rappel. So, ang ginawa ko, nag-costume nga ako ng maganda. But you know, it was done by the daughter of Femery Cabantat, Tilbury, and I still wear that. It's actually a hablon. No. Can somebody help me? What is that? What do you call that tela? That cloth coming from the north? Anybody? It's actually an Ilocano cloth. It's not a blonde. Can everybody here in the room help me? What is that cloth that you buy in vegan? Yun kay vegan na yun. And I like that. I like it because it's very Filipino. And besides the reason why I like it because there is a touch of pink. I was talking of my barong Tagalog. And it's very Filipino. Okay. Thank you. Pangalan nito si Alexin Kamanta. So let us go now to what I was telling you. This is really the last episode kasi I promised past President Jory Plana and I'm also going to invite PP Obet and maybe Joanne and Michelle Cordero Garcia. Our discussion next week will be on the topic of the Great Resignation. Ang dami ko sa iyong chismis. Ang isa nga rito, nakikinig nandito, alam niya. Kung alin yung valued employee, kung alin yung matalino, nagre-resign ngayon. Matakot ka kung bakit. And we would like to discuss on that. I don't know if you can have statistics on that, but you know, it's already felt. And ako mismo, I know a lot of people that despite the drop, the need to be working, a lot of people are resigning. And maybe the resignation, they have a path to do on their own. And let's discuss that next Saturday. So, mag-join kayo. I asked those people here, and we are many, what are your thoughts? Sino ba dapat ang, Ryan, sino ba dapat? Can you spot on Ryan? Both should be rewarded. However, it should be on the different measure of performance and rewarding scores. Diyan mo makita, Ryan is a good people manager. Both should be rewarded. Pero different nga eh. Di ba different? Kasi di ba yung, ano yung nakakatakot doon sa nagka-face-to-face? Getting infected. Di ba? Getting infected. I know of a big organization here na 30% lang ang kinilang nagpupunta sa opisina, but the HR manager requires the HR to report. Takot na takot yung mga estudyante ko. Ang sabi nila, sir, naku, baka kami magkasakit. Sabi ko, anong ginagawa niyan? Wala nga, sir. We can also do it at home. So that's one. Yung nandun na naman sa bahay, naku, burangat, mainit ang ulo. Bakit? It is integrated. Ang dami kong alam. Kahit dyan sa PMAP, meron dyan sa PMAP na gustong pumasok. Bakit gustong pumasok? Kasi ayaw mautusan ng nanay magluto, maglaba at magbantay. So, i-reward mo naman kasi integrated. Siyempre, wala siyang stapler. So, ano ba dapat? Pag-usapan naman, what are the strategies that we need to do? It's actually also strategies on our work from home mode. Diba? Now, let us go back doon sa compensation and benefit. So compensation and benefit is actually your compensation plan. And that is actually your pay for position. I don't know if you have what you call the pay for performance. This is based now on your performance. If it is competency based, then you compute, you have rubrics, you have the indicators, and then you pay. Then we have the pay per person. This is actually your uh, profiling. Kung talaga nag-improve yung kanyang competencies. Now, that should be rewarded. Now, aside from that, ano pa ba ang mga rewards? Usually, if it is unionized, mas inclined yung mga tao dun sa union. Kasi they get their rewards from the negotiation of the union. So what are the, di ba, intrinsic, what are the other rewards that should be given to employees na hindi talaga monetary? Can I ask Ryan, Sel, who are here, and Louis, what do you give? Louis, you are actually in the forefront. You are a frontliner because actually Louis is in a commercial marketing firm wherein they sell essential goods. At ang tao niya talaga hindi yan nagtanong. Tuting ang daming nagkakasakit kaya sa Badar in Bacolod. Louis from Silay. So, ano ang effort na binibigay mo? Ako may bibigay ako sa yung noon. Pre-pandemic, when I was still in Inquirer, ay tinatawag ko niyan pandesal moments. If I texted my Inquirer family, they will remember, they can still recall, and they will remember na kami noon, every time when I was already in sales, every time that we hit the quota for the day or for the week, how much is pandesal? 100 pesos pandesal na tigto 2 pesos, that's 50. Bilan mo ng Rino, bilan mo ng Star Margarine, that is enough. Diba, you celebrate, and that is one thing that after reaching or achieving the quota, and that is actually parang hindi ka si Lucifer. Ikaw ay si Michael o si Raphael o si Gabriel. Diba? Yung parang, that is a reward. That is a reward that you give. Now, the another one is the reward is actually, this is more now on your leadership, how you relate to people. Diba yung reward is making their, parang trying to squeeze on their strength and not actually focusing on their weakness. That is a reward. Ang hirap yan, ang dali ko yan sabihin, pero ang hirap yan gawin if you're the leader. And another reward is actually educating them. Nakakalimutan yan. I have a mentor, nagme-mentoring po ako. You listen to this kasi importante ito. Sabi niya, wala naman akong problema. Pero parang mayroon ngayon, especially ngayon, may grupo na nagiging against sa akin. May clique nagiging against sa akin. Sabi ko, ano yung relationship mo? Ang ginagawa ko lang naman suggest, HR po ito ha. Sabi niya, parang walang problema. So I call them up and then tell them what to do and I tell them when to submit it. Sabi ko, wala ka bang kiliti? Wala ka bang hilo-hilo? Hindi nga sir, kasi baka ako ma-misconstrue. Sana nakikinig sa akin ngayon ha? Kasi doon sa mentoring ito pinag-usapan namin. Sabi ko, siguro yan ang problema. Kasi the more that you are in what you call asynchronous, they are more on a distant, virtual relationship. Dapat mag-umpisa ka muna ng konti. Anong kinakain mo dyan? Kumusta ka na? Kumusta ang Davao? Kasi, reward yun experience. You reward them not only because nagsisweldo. Hindi. You reward them because you're dealing with them as human beings. Na-miss kita, PPO, but kasi alam ko, master mo ito. Kasi, how are we going to reward people? Na-mention ko na po na yung reward them by monetary, of course, yung 3 Ps, and we reward them with their salary. And I'm very sure ang dami ngayon na pagpasalamat ka na you are still receiving a lot. Then yung next topic natin, sama ka next week, yung the Great Resignation. Bakit marami pa rin umaalis? Bakit? How do we reward? So nagpasok po ako nito, PPO, na ang reward sometimes is how you, nandito na ako sa respect. How they, reward is, sa Inquirer noon, naabutan mo ako, nagbibigay ako ng free pandesal, di ba? Yung pandesal moment. This
Oo,
one.
oo.
Di ba, one time, dumaan
Siyempre.
ka doon, nakita mo, basta kami Then aside from that, so nandito na po ako and then help me. Another reward is how you treat your people. Can you give your insights on this? Kasi reward yun eh. Reward.
Sa akin kasi yung rewards and recognition, it must
Yeah.
go beyond whatever that is tangible. Because mas importante yung intangible.
Right.
Mas may ano sa puso yun. Ano yung intangible? Simple respect, simply malasakit, simply sincerity, simply a pat on the back, di ba? Simply being with them, simply listening to them. Yan eh. And praising them in public. Yeah, kasi yung mga typical rewards recognition na alam natin yan, mga temporal yan. Of course, importante yun yung external motivation. Pero importante dyan, yung next level is the internal motivation o intrinsic. But
Yan
we have to
na.
go beyond that. The third level is transcendental motivation. How would you feel kung ano ginagawa mo? Nagdadala ka ng pandesal, pinapalamanan mo pa sila. Of course, malinis naman and everything. Ikaw pa yung sa serbisyo ng boss mo, ng manager mo. How would you feel kung ikaw yung staff? Di ba? Oh, how would you feel kung bigla ka na lang padadala ng pagkain? Sana all. Yan yung mga recognition,
Yan ang
rewards.
sinabi mo, PPL, but can you expand on that? Yung transcendental. Kasi yan ang kulang ngayon. Kaya, di ba may maririnig ka mental health, walang may ano ang role, ano ang strategy dapat ng boss as ikaw na rewarded siya sa pag-working with you. Yung sinabi ko kanina na, sabi ko kaya umalis kasi yung boss Lucifer. Dapat ikaw ngayon ay Angel Gabriel or Angel ano yung gustong sabihin mo ng transcendental?
Transcendental for me means you go beyond the boundaries.
Yeah.
Even without your presence, at the back of the mind, especially in the core of the heart of your people, nandoon ka. Hindi ka tinitingnan dahil manager ka, supervisor ka. Nandun ka kasi dahil may iniwan kang kagandahang loob. Not because of utang na loob. Dahil kagandahan, karespeto binigay mo, etc. And I think that will really create a big difference in the lives of each and everyone. Of course, may tinatawag tayong 5 languages of love. O, alam naman natin yan. Kaya dapat alam din natin different strokes for different folks.
Okay, before we
Pero
end up,
again,
kasi
kahit nawala ako sa tabi mo, Jesse, alam mo yan. Alam mo yan, Jesse. Kahit wala ako sa tabi mo, i-claim ko na. For sure, you are transcendentally motivated. Alam mo na yan.
Yes. Pero teka muna, can you share with us yung 5? Just curious, ano itong 5 points of love before we end up? Kasi ay nakikita ko 103 na. And then before you give your final, what is this 5 PPO?
Ano mo, yung 5 languages of love na yan. Hindi akin yan, ha. Di ba meron yang libro at sumikat yan na sinasabi na tayong lahat may kanya-kanyang pamamaraan ng pagtanggap at pagbigay ng pagmamahal. O ikaw ba? Ano mas gusto mo? Regalo? Words? Service? O ano? Ano bang mas gusto mo dyan? Ano bang gusto mo ba dyan?
Sa akin, you just treat me as with respect. Masaya na ako siguro. Diba?
Masaya ka na dyan. Ikaw naman, anong mas ginagawa mo sa mga panahon na to? Pagdating ng pag-express mo ng pagmamahal sa ibang tao?
I just to show them that they care. Communication eh. Just the mere presence. Gaya ba kay Louie nandito, kay Ryan, baga di ba yung just saying siguro ikaw every day. Wala kang mumpay nag good morning, may oras ka naiinis ako kasi good morning, today is Tuesday. alam ko naman. Pero sabi ko, just imagine PP Obet is giving his time to greet me. Sino naman ako, di ba?
Siyempre, kaibigan kita.
Ganun,
Alam mo, yung Ang nakikita ko sa'yo, ano ka mas gusto mo ang love of service.
Yeah.
Love of
Yeah.
service. Di ba?
Yeah.
Pero,
Yes.
ramdam ko din sa'yo yung yung love of affirmation. Ayan.
Kailangan yun.
Yung
Kailangan
five
yun.
languages, yung 5 languages of love, importante lahat yan, pero merong mas dominant dyan. So, itong
Ano
5 languages of love na to, ginawa to ni, alam ko si Dr. Chapman, no?
Mhm.
Kaya nga, meron tayong words of affirmation, yung quality time, yung physical touch, yung acts of service, and receiving gifts. O yan yung 5 languages of love. Ikaw ba mas gusto mong nagbibigay o tumatanggap ng regalo? Ikaw, sa tingin mo, ikaw mismo.
At this
Ano
time,
ba?
kasi nasa lockdown tayo, yung pagtanggap ng regalo, parang ayaw ka kasi it takes a lot of effort na padalan mo ako ng regalo.
Pero
So
mas
it's
gusto mo
more
nagbibigay ka ng regalo ng
Yes.
ibang bagay.
Yes.
O yan.
Ay, sabi, kung may dumadaan dito yung mga, say, basurero, kung may nakita kong tinapay dyan, inaabot ko. Di ba?
O yan.
Or, kakawalis ko lang kaya nung yung kali dyan sa harap ko, kakawalis ko lang ako misma,
O
literally
yun
ako
yun. Yung sinasabi ni Dr. Chapman, yung the way you express your love to others, no, in terms of affirmation, time, touch, yung service, tsaka yung gift. Ayan. In reverse naman, ikaw din. Paano mo naman
tinatanggap? Basahin natin itong galing kay Ryan. Yung ating kaibigan kay Ryan. Magkasabay
sige, si Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
Basahin natin. Ryan. Given na po yung sa monetary aspect, I like the term mentioned by PP Obet, transcendental. Nararamdaman tayo and as a leader, we make them feel that we reach out with them. Communication at kumusta na simple and low lang will do. Hindi yung confined lang tayo sa area natin sa nakaupo. Exactly. It should be done with love and affirmation. Nako, talagang align tayo ni Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. You hit the head on the nail. Si Ryan, kaibigan natin yan eh. Sana makita natin.
Tayo doon sa prayer kaya sa PMAP, di ba?
Oo naman. Basta
yung
sinasabi na ng languages of love, may pamamaraan tayong pagbabahagi ng pagmamahal at meron ka ding preferably na pagtanggap. Kaya sabi ko nga, different strokes for different folks. And ang transcendental, you make your presence felt through your spirituality. Hindi yung religiosity, yung spirituality. Ibig sabihin, hindi yung angel ka. Ramdam nila yan. Kahit na physical distance away kayo, LDR kayo, nandun yun. Alam mo ano yung dalawang bagay doon? Trust. Trustworthiness. Trust.
Alam mo may chismis ako sa
integrity. Pag meron ka yan, the rest follows.
Alam mo ang trust, PP Obet, is actually you're a credible activist. They trust you because they can see you that you're believable and then you really do it. Tapos yung sinabi mong isa is integrity. And integrity is you achieve what you really is expected from you. Ako, I really trust you, PP Obet. Ano, bakit? What am I expecting from you? Ginagawa mo. Naalala mo yung ating exchanges sa inyo, parang wala kang tiwala sa akin. Sinagot naman kita, may tiwala. Sabi ko, may tiwala ko sa iyo.
Lambing ko lang sa iyo yun.
Tapos nung ginawa mo talaga, Ryan, Louie, ginawa talaga niya ni Pipi Obet. Alam mo, tumataas. So sabi ko, I really admire this person kasi he's a person of integrity.
Totoo, ginawa ko talaga yan.
Diba? You're a person of integrity. Kaya nasabi ko kasi you achieve
talaga sinabi ko sa kanya, parang wala kang tiwala sa akin.
Then ginawa niya talaga. So it's not only that I trust him, he's a person of integrity kasi what he promised me that he will do, he did it. Yun. Kaya pinag-uusapan mo namin na dalawa. Okay. So PP Obet, next week ulit kasi si PP Jerry ang nagsabi ng topic natin, it's on the great resignation. What you do? Okay. Can you give me your final word on learning and development?
Maraming salamat kaibigan Jesse.
Yes, what is your
Ah,
final
ako
word?
naman una-una nagpapasalamat ako sa pagkakataong ito at sa lahat ng mga nanonood at nakikinig, no? At basta tandaan lang to, never stop learning in life because life never stops teaching. Stay
Ayan.
healthy and safe all the time. God bless. I love you, everyone.
Okay. Okay. PP, but don't leave kasi we'll have to talk after this. Now, ang akin naman na final word is this. One is a chismis in what we are actually experiencing now. Di ba, you have a helper? His name is Chevy. You know, for a time, sabi ko, Chevy, I need to pay you na. Alam mo yung sinabi niya sa akin, this is rewards and recognition. Sabi niya, sir, wag na muna. Sabi ko, bakit naman? Pero sabi ko, nandyan yan. Sabi niya, now that we are in the pandemic, I know how life hard is, and now you treat me now. You treat me as a family. Para bang, kasi binibili ko yan sa Lazada ng damit, binibili kong anong, sabi niya, the monetary does not really count. It's actually how you treat me as a family. And then, yun. So see, that is rewards management. You can titingnan mo, it's not actually yung monetary thing that matters. Now, as yun naman sa training, to conclude, it is the opportune time. Do not panic naman na dapat mag-aral ka. But it's the opportune time kasi we are pivoting. We are transcending. We are transitioning. So in a transition, dapat supportahan mo ng learning. You should not be left behind. And it has to be strategic na yung ginagawa mo, magagamit mo. Magagamit mo. So dapat malalaman mo where are you, sama yung sinabi ni PPO, point A to point B. All of us now, those who are listening to me, share this also. Tingnan ninyo kung saan ka papunta and try to know what is it that you would like to do. Then you have to make sure that you are educated, you are trained to whatever you are leading to. Then, tingnan mo kung how are you rewarded. Alam mo ang masasabi ko doon sa reward, it's not actually coming from the outside. The reward is coming from the inside. How people really appreciate it. At this is not romantic, this is not badoy. Ang reward actually is how it is being taken by the person, how worthwhile, how how yung parang yung kanyang ginagawa is has relevance for you and for him. And then alam mo ang last nun is actually tatlo. Hindi naman faith, hope, and charity. We'll make it a little bit mortal. It's actually happiness. Yung happy siya, comfortable siya, peaceful, harmonious siya. And actually, ang pinakalas, hindi po ito romantic, love, care. Kasi tingnan mo, yung doon sa diniscuss natin na learning and rewards, it goes back to those foundation. Now, the point is, how can you strategize it? How can you strategize that you are actually manifesting and showing love? How can you strategize that you're actually creating peace and harmony? How can you strategize that you're actually infecting, and pushing happiness and contentment? Malalim po ito. Kasi tinuro ko po yan, it took me 2 hours just for those 3. So that people will be influenced. So, ang sabi natin, what are the problems? Fear, stress, crisis, conflict, then anger. Then, pasukan natin yung strategies ng training, strategies on rewards. Mababaw lang yan po. Ang i-strategize natin yung doon. Of course, yung faith, hope, and charity. Yep, nandun yun. Pero doon, how can we strategize in the corporate world that they will be happy? Nakuha ko ito dito regional. Nakuha ko ito doon kay Mr. Nick at kay may sa Ayala. the experience. How can you make your people happy? Then the next one is how can you really show love? Yung sinasabi ni Pipi Obet. Ryan, strategize. How can you show care? And then the last one is how can you really strategize? How can you really show peace and harmony? With that, ladies and gentlemen, salamat po. That ends up our long series on strategies. And I was really thinking of that we go back to the basic, but we have to add now that spice. How can we strategize it? The first thing that you have to do right after this, it's 70 days before Christmas, Okay, pa-picture nito. Okay, right after this, can you make a strategy? How can you show love to your significant other? Diyan ka muna mag-practice. Ryan, Sel, Louie, nandyan si Francis, nandyan si June, nandyan si Patricia, kay Louie. Kay Bong, nandyan si Joy. How can you strategize that you are actually showing love, peace, and happiness in your family? Thank you very much. Have a good day. See you next Saturday.